about these online attacks to a farm in Suffolk, a dairy farm, Fen Farm Dairy, and they've come from vegan extremists. Gareth gets in touch. I've tried to communicate with vegans online before, but in my experience, they're not wanting to help others understand their cause. Just shout abuse, and basically their behaviour turns others away from it because of their anger and hatred. And I'll also just add that although I eat meat, I also eat fruits and vegetables, making me an omnivore, not a meat eater. And I'll say it's nice to hear rational conversations this morning. Well, Gareth, thank you very much. I actually thought we were omnivores. Anyway, let's talk to Simon in Pentlow. Hello, Simon. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Mark.
And also Victoria Petchey is from the Suffolk Vegans group who got in touch. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning.
Hi, thank you very much for joining us. Simon, first of all, what do you think about what's happening to Fen Farm Dairy?
First of all, I don't think we should tar all vegans with the same brush as the ones that have been abusive to Johnny Crickmore and his family and many other farmers that are in the industry of livestock.
I actually don't believe we are. I think most people can differentiate between your average vegan and somebody who's extreme in their views, which is what we're seeing here.
Absolutely. I didn't mean you and the way the discussion is going. I think from both sides of the fence there are. In the farming world, there are industries, there are parts of the industries that need to catch up, that need to do their job a lot better. I don't deny that as a livestock farmer myself, but the abuse and the language and the threats that are coming across from a movement that seems to be gaining momentum at the moment, but they're gaining momentum because of the whole abusive way they're going about their business, which is I think for their movement is wrong. And I'm sure you're the other person who's going to speak will say the same. I've got no doubt about that.
Well, let's ask Victoria, because Victoria got in touch. You've sent me a lovely picture of your group who are meeting on Saturday. You look very lovely.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are. What do you think, first of all, about these extremist comments to Fen Farm Dairy? And we also heard from Fiona earlier on, and death wishes aimed at her as well. And she's trying to do everything she can to kind of improve the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I don't agree with being aggressive at all. That totally goes against the whole point of being vegan. It's about being compassionate towards animals, other people, and being more conscious of what it is that we're doing in the world, what we're eating, where it comes from, and just being cruelty-free.
So, and you get together. There's a group of you, quite a strong group, and as Simon mentioned there, we're seeing more people go down this route. We just had Veganuary. So, is it a growing movement?
It is growing in momentum, like you said, constantly. I mean, we've got so many things coming out. So many products in the supermarkets which are cruelty-free, dairy-free, meat-free. There's so many substitutes. So there's actually no reason in this day and age why we should be eating animals or using them for our own selfish needs.
Simon, what do you say to that?
Look, I can understand where the principles come from someone who wishes to go down the route of being totally a vegan. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is there is a massive part of the industry, a part of the world that will continue to eat meat products, animal products, and it is a case of supply and demand. And I'm in the market where all our livestock, we look after them to the maximum ability that we can. We care for them until the moment comes when they utterly have to be dispatched from this world. And unfortunately, it is about supply and demand. And if the vegan movement carries on in the momentum that it does, then I'm sure there will be less meat eaten. But on a global scale, I'm afraid I don't think it will ever happen.
Well, 100 years ago, women couldn't vote. So this month, 100 years ago, we now can. So times can change. And I believe that this is a movement that one day will be proven right. And I'm proud of being vegan. And everybody else, I think we're on the right side of history. Mark, I have no issue with that. And that's why I'm not the sort of person that will turn around and tell a vegan that they're absolutely wrong. They've got no right, But there are some that need to just realise that to go about it in the way they are is not going to help their cause one bit.
So
I agree with you completely. I think being aggressive or threatening other people is not productive at all. I mean, everybody here, we're entitled to live our lives, have a livelihood, create money to support our families. I think that vegans should be more supportive and try to help farmers to change what it is that they're selling. So to sell more grain, wheat, vegetables, just not the meat. We don't need it anymore. That's what I believe.
Okay, Simon, we're going to let you go. Thank you. And Victoria, if I can just keep with you just a little bit longer, because a lot of people won't understand about veganism in its entirety. And so there is a scale, is there? Or is it all or nothing for you? Because people have mentioned leather shoes and wool and all this kind of stuff. So where do you fit into that?
And for myself personally, and when I first went vegan, it was just to do with the diet. Then you see more things online, more documentaries and so forth, and then you see the fashion industries or the cosmetics that we're using or anything like that, household goods, even like the down in feather pillows. You start evaluating everything that you're using and then you just question it. And I personally don't use any animal products. I don't wear silk, I don't wear wool, leather, nothing.
And how difficult is that for you or not?
And when you first move over to going vegan and changing your lifestyle, it does take a while. I mean, you know, we're all raised around animal-based products. It's in our lives. But you can make the change if you want to and want to be more compassionate towards animals and our planet, then it's easily achieved.
Lucy in Hadley's been in touch. She says, sorry, but if 85 or 90% of people actually saw what happens from animal to plate, believe me, it would put you off. At least it would if anybody had a heart. People don't understand what goes into what they're eating. We don't need to eat animals, says Lucy. Yeah, I was always brought up to believe that we were omnivores, Victoria.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my teeth. I mean, they're not brilliant. Some of them are fake, but you know, they are. I have the mouth of an omnivore.
Yeah. Well, I personally don't want to cause any harm to another living being or creature, and for me, that involves not eating animals or having milk or wearing any animal-based products.
So many comments coming in on this one today. I mean, there's a real disconnect between, you know, both sides, it seems, unfortunately, at the moment. So how can you kind of moderate the debate, perhaps, by getting together like you do, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we get together at Isaac's at the Vegan Club, it's just a group of normal people. There's no anger, and we just all freely talk about our lives. I mean, we've got some people there who've only just become vegan. Within like the last few months. We've got some people there who've been vegan for about 10 years. So it's really interesting hearing how it has changed throughout the years and just how you can live now as a vegan. I mean, there's so many different restaurants that now offer vegan options.
Can I just ask you one final thing? And it is coming through quite loud in a lot of the comments that we've got here. Okay. Why do vegans have to be so preachy about it? Why can't you just live and let live?
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. I think it's because we're so proud and we just want people to be more aware of what it is that they're doing. We're not trying to say that they're wrong.
But can't meat eaters be proud? Can't they, you know, I mean, you mentioned, or one of your colleagues mentioned earlier on, you know, or they'll send us a picture of a steak. Well, you know, they're just proud of being a meat eater.
Yeah, well, each to their own, but I wouldn't be proud of eating a dead animal.
Victoria, what time do you meet on Saturday?
It's at Isaac's between 10 and 12. All are welcome. And yeah, just come along and join in.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
You too.
Appreciate it. All the very best. It's 10 to 10.
Travel news from